Hello everyone, welcome to today's English lesson live with me, Anna English, here on English Like a Native. Do you like football? Do you like learning English? If the answer to either of those questions is yes, then this is a very good lesson for you. We're learning some must-know phrases when talking about football. Now, when I say football, I mean the English version of football, the British version of football, which is where you put the ball on the floor and you kick it around. I don't mean American football. So in America, football is very different, and Americans call football soccer. I'm not sure about other countries, whether you call it football or soccer, but anyway, I'm talking about soccer and the British English version of football, where the ball is on the floor. Of course, we have the World Cup starting, or it has just started. It's very exciting. Please do let me know if you are going to be watching the World Cup, and if so, let me know which team you are going to be supporting, as well as which team you think are likely to win. So place your bets. Who do you think is going to win this World Cup? Oh, it's going to be very exciting. Right, so today's must-know football phrases. Let's get straight into it. There are only 8 of them, so let's get on with the very first one. I'm going to bring it up for you now. Okay, so as always, I've made some beautiful notes for you. English like a native, must-know football phrases. Talk about football like a native. Football phrases. The very first football phrase that you should know is back of the net. If we say back of the net, we mean score a goal. So, for example, I've written this sentence. It's up to the keeper now. No, it's beyond the keeper. England has buried that ball in the back of the net. What a goal. I think perhaps I'm being a little bit optimistic by saying England are the team that have scored that goal. Hopefully England will score lots of goals. But there you go. To put something into the to put the ball in the back of the net, or if you just say back of the net, or you might use it as an instruction. Come on, back of the net, score the goal, get it in there. Then we're talking about a goal, which is always exciting. Fantastic. I've got some England supporters in already. I've got some people from Argentina, Germany. Where else in the world are you watching from? Lots of Argentina supporters. Wow, lots of Argentina supporters. Hello, Argentina. Hola. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, Peru as well. Fabulous. So, back of the net. Do you have something similar in your language? Do you have a similar phrase like back of the net? Let's have a look what my patrons are saying. Hello, patrons. How are you? Michelangelo, hello. You're maybe the only one in Italy who doesn't like football. You know, everyone has their own things that they like and dislike, and that's absolutely fine. I'm actually heading to Italy tomorrow. I'm very excited. I'm going to be spending the next 2 weeks in Italy. It's going to be a fabulous little trip. Alexander, hello. Anna, are you going to watch the football? As I said, I'm going to be in Italy, so it's going to be difficult to try and fit in the travelling around seeing games, but we'll see. We'll just see what happens. Alexander, personally, whenever I watch football in England, I don't understand the commentators. I understand only some separate words and phrases, although I used to watch football a lot. That's interesting, Alexander. Yeah, commentators can speak quite fast, so I'm not surprised if you found it difficult. Perhaps because of the pace, and they tend to have a certain tone to their voice that can make it difficult to understand them. But that's what today's lesson is going to help you with, hopefully. I have to say a huge thank you to Justin. Hello, Justin. You're quite quick off the mark to jump in here. Nice to see you. You've made a super chat donation, which, of course, I'm always grateful for donations, and as a way of saying thank you, I will send you a copy of these notes if you want them. Justin, just drop me a message and I'll send them to you. Justin, I think you're a patron anyway, aren't you? So you'll get them because all patrons get these notes. Okay, and you said Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Fantastic. Okay, so the next phrase on the list after back of the net is to get stuck in. Now, this can be used outside of football, but it's used in football quite a lot. You might hear people say, come on, get stuck in. Or they might say, oh, that player really got stuck in that game. And to get stuck in just means to get involved and play with determination. So do you know any football players that you expect will get stuck in? Are there any players who are particularly passionate when they play? The example sentence I've given is, come on, Rooney, get stuck in. That's something that you might shout from the stand if you're watching, or you might shout it at the telly, as many people watch the matches on TV and regularly shout quite loudly at the screen, don't they? Camilio says, what's your favourite team in England? Well, I used to play football quite a lot. In fact, in college, I was captain of the girls' team. Yep, I was a good player. But I've never been a big follower of football. I do watch the World Cup and sometimes other international matches, but I'm much more of a doer than a watcher. When I did watch internal football, so when I watched like the leagues, I was a supporter of Manchester United because I was a girl growing up in Manchester. So Manchester United were my team, but since I've moved away and grown up, I don't really follow football within the UK, but I do always take a great interest in the World Cup. It's always good fun. Okay, so get stuck in and back of the net. 2 phrases for us there. I have to say hello to Mabby, joined us in the Patreon room. Hello, Mabby. Lovely to see you. Okay, next on the list. Let me take away that. All right, so next on the list we have a howler. If I call something a howler, what do I mean? I'm usually talking about the goalkeeper and a basic error that he has made. If he's made a mistake, made an error, something usually quite basic, and it's led to a goal. So if this error concedes a goal, then you would call it an absolute howler, or just a howler. Say, oh, he made a howler, or what a howler. So the example sentence I gave was, what a howler. He is going to be very disappointed with that. What a howler. He is going to be very disappointed with that. Obviously, I'm referring to the goalkeeper. Now, you see I've written here gonna, which is a contraction of going to, or slang for going to. Please bear in mind that gonna is only really spoken. It's very relaxed spoken English. We wouldn't really write it. So don't use this in written English, but you will hear it spoken, and it's fine for you to say gonna. It's quite an easy way to speak. Relaxed way to speak. All right, let's jump straight over to the next one. So that's a howler, get stuck in, and back of the net. What's next? Man on. Man on. If someone shouts man on, you'll often hear this throughout a game. If someone shouts man on, it means a player from the opposition is right behind you. So perhaps, let's say France and Germany are playing. A French player has the ball and a German player comes up right behind him, but we're not sure if the French player is aware of how close the German player is. And so someone would shout to him, man on! And they often shout this to warn them, there's someone right behind you, perhaps you should pass the ball. So it's a warning telling them to get the ball to safety because there's an a player from the opposition right behind you. Okay? All right. Are there any of these phrases so far that you haven't heard before? If so, please write, I didn't know, and then which phrase down in the comments box below so I know which phrases are new to you. So I'm sure if some of you have been watching football with British commentators for quite a while, or English commentators, then you will know most of these, I'm sure. But do let me know. It's always interesting. Okay, so Leo has said, what a howler was Liverpool's goalkeeper. But we're not calling him a howler, we're calling his mistake a howler. So what you would say is, What a howler by, or what a howler made by Liverpool's goalkeeper. What a howler made by Liverpool's goalkeeper. You can interchange it with mistake. What a mistake made by Liverpool's goalkeeper. Okay? All right, so Justin, hello Justin, you said, I am more of a rugby person myself. Fair enough, fair enough. Everyone has their own sport that they absolutely love. And yeah, rugby is also a good one. When is the next big rugby competition? When's that coming up? Do let me know. Okay, so next on the list, and we're smashing through this, is a common phrase, a game of two halves. It's a game of two halves. Have you heard this before? Some people find this phrase quite annoying, but let me show you written down. A game of two halves basically means that a game can change a lot once you enter the second half of play. So perhaps one team is doing very well in the first half, but then after half time, they come back and suddenly they've just lost it. They play very badly. Maybe the other side find their passion and manage to regain the lead. And so you can say, look, it's a game of two halves. It's like saying it's not over till it's over. So you can't really call a game halfway through and say, yeah, Germany's definitely going to win this, because it could all change. It's a game of two halves. And the example sentence I've written here is, Brazil were 3-1 up in the first half, but France dominated in the second half, bringing it down to a penalty shootout. It really has been a game of two halves. Fabulous. I hope that's nice and clear for you. Now, I have covered football before in a live lesson, I think around this time last year. It was a very long live lesson. I know that some of you don't like the very long lessons. Today's is going to be very short. But if you are interested in learning some more vocabulary, it was a more thorough lesson. It was quite a long time ago, so the quality won't be as good as this particular video because my link wasn't as good, but the knowledge is still there. So if you're interested, if you just go onto my video tab and type in football, you will find that video from last year. Of course, there are over 350 videos here, so if you don't like that one, I'm sure there's other things that you might find interesting. Guys, if you do like football, then please give me a thumb up and let me know. If you don't like football, but you do like English, then give me a thumb up. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss any future lessons. And if you're feeling super generous today, then please, please, please do click that share button. That will really help me out. Okay, let's get on and finish this lesson. So, what do we have? We have they or we were robbed. They were robbed. We were robbed. This is a phrase that means you use it basically when it feels like a game is lost unjustly. So a team have lost, but you think it's not fair that they lost. They didn't deserve to lose. They deserved to win. And this loss could be due to a bad decision by the ref, or it could be due to foul play, or perhaps it's just really bad luck. Maybe someone was injured quite badly and had to go off, and I don't know, maybe the wind blew the ball. I don't know. But bad things happen, don't they? And it's not really anyone's fault, but sometimes it will cost someone a game. Like I always think back to that very famous moment in football, the Maradona hand of God moment, and that goal was allowed, and that went down in history as an unjust win, because that shouldn't have been allowed. It was handball. But, you know, these things happen and some teams are robbed of the victory. So you'll often hear they were robbed or we were robbed. So the example sentence I've given here, just to help bring that home, is Germany were robbed tonight, all because of a very bad decision. When the referee sees the playback, he is going to kick himself. Now this phrase, to kick yourself, means to regret what you've done. So we often say about someone else, they're going to kick themselves, or he is kicking himself because he realizes he's done something wrong. Okay, so let me just bring you back up. Hello. Let's see what you guys are saying. Anna, what team do you support for this World Cup apart from England? Can you really support more than one team? Really? I think what generally happens is I support England until England are knocked out. And then once England are knocked out, it will depend on how the teams are performing. I just enjoy watching how people compete at an international level. And if a team is doing particularly well, usually if it's the underdogs, the underdogs means the teams that you don't expect to win. If you're an underdog, you're not the ones expected to do well. So normally if I see the underdogs are doing very well, you're like, come on, yeah. Maybe a team that hasn't really won it for a long time or never won the World Cup would be exciting. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But like I said, I'm going to be in Italy, so I'm not sure how much of the games I'm going to be able to see. Okay, so let's get finished, shall we? Let me just bring this back up. So they were robbed. Can you think of any examples of a match where a team were robbed of the win and why? So if you can write me a sentence with that information, that would be great. So often, if a goalkeeper does something outstanding to stop a goal from being scored, we'd shout, "What a save!" Or you might say it in a sentence, "Oh, what a save. It was so good. The goalkeeper was really, really on top form today. What a save that was. What a save." Yeah, so an expression for when the goalkeeper does something outstanding to stop a goal from being scored. And the last one is quite a fun one. Again, we can use this one outside of football, but I often hear it used when watching football matches. Squeaky bum time. I think this is quite a recent phrase to be used. I've only been hearing it in recent years. I never used to hear it when I was younger. Squeaky bum time. This is a very informal phrase and it means a nerve-wracking time. So if there's a time when you're very tense and you're very nervous about what is going to happen, you could say it's squeaky bum time. Now, you would only use this phrase if it wasn't, if it was a light-hearted time. So of course you might be nervous and anxious if your mother goes in for an operation, and you're anxious to find out that everything goes okay and that she's going to be fit and healthy. In that situation, it's a very serious situation. You would not use squeaky bum time. Squeaky bum time is for fun, light-hearted situations. Okay? Although I have also heard it, so perhaps let's say you get pulled over by the police in your car and you possibly were speeding a little bit and you're very, very nervous because you think the police have pulled you over because of the speeding. And then as the policeman comes to the window and speaks to you, you realise that actually he's pulled you over because he just wants to chat about an incident the day before and wonders if you'd seen anything. So you're not in trouble, and afterwards you might go, "Whew, that was squeaky bum time. I was very nervous." But that's because there's no serious outcome. Okay? All right, so there you go. Those phrases, once again, squeaky bum time. What a save. They were robbed. We were robbed. It's a game of two halves. Man on. That was a howler by the goalkeeper. Come on, get stuck in. Back of the net, yay! So I hope you guys found that helpful. What I'm going to do now is stay around for a few minutes longer just to answer your questions. Let's try and keep it football related if we can. And then I am going to be away for a couple of weeks. Of course, I'm going to be in Italy, but I will be updating and posting regularly on my Instagram page and possibly on Facebook. So if you're not following me on Instagram or Facebook, then come along. There's lots of things to see there besides just my account. But on Instagram, I do post a lot of pronunciation videos on a regular basis to help you to speak English with a standard accent and to sound clearer in your pronunciation. If you haven't already, please do give this a thumb up and click that share button if you're feeling generous.